What's up, everybody? JT Sports Max, you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks impact players going into the 2019 NFL season. Now, the first player that I have on this list is quarterback Russell Wilson. Last season, Russell Wilson made it to the Pro Bowl. He passed for 3,448 yards, had 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and completed 65.6% of his passes. Now, we already know that Russell Wilson is the heart and soul of that Seattle Seahawks team. Without him, the Seattle Seahawks basically are doomed and they're going to be trash. Now, Russell Wilson is a top five quarterback in my opinion. He's in that discussion. He should have been in the MVP discussion, I thought, because he had such good of a season. And also this season was very, very good for him because he didn't really have to do all that running around and being a magician this year because the offensive line was a lot more improved than what it was in the past previous seasons. So this year going in, I'm expecting Russell Wilson to keep up the good play. I'm expecting him to put up similar numbers. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit. I think the Seattle Seahawks offense might start out a little bit slow without having Doug Baldwin there. But overall, I think Russell Wilson is going to be able to keep up production. He's going to have another good, productive Pro Bowl caliber season. Next up is second round wide receiver DK Metcalf. Now, DK Metcalf has been raved about this offseason so far. He's basically what everybody expected him: an athletic freak, very fast, very quick for his size, very athletic. But he still has a lot of things to work on. Has to get that route running down. But overall, I think he's going to be a big part of that Seattle Seahawks offense, and he really has no choice. He's probably going to be that number one wide receiver. Doug Baldwin retired, so he's going to be Russell Wilson's go-to guy. He's going to be that number one wide receiver, and that's what they drafted him to do, man. I think he's going to live up to the expectations. I don't think he's going to have a crazy rookie year. I think he'll probably have 800 receiving yards, probably have 7 touchdowns, maybe 6 at the least, and he'll probably have 70 receptions, and I think that's a pretty good rookie year for DK Metcalf. Another wide receiver that I have on this list is wide receiver Tyler Lockett. Last season, he had 965 receiving yards, which was his career high. Had 57 receptions and 10 touchdowns. And Tyler Lockett started out his career as more of a return guy, was an all-pro returner, and now he's starting to emerge as a legitimate wide receiver. The past couple of years, he was just trending as just a starting wide receiver, nothing else. But now he's starting to trend his way up. He's now starting to progress his way to a very good wide receiver, above average wide receiver. And last season was just a stepping stone. This season, I think he probably has his best year. I think he goes over 1,000 receiving yards, probably has about 80 receptions, and probably has about 12 touchdowns. Now, Tyler Lockett should be able to meet those expectations since Doug Baldwin is now off the team now. DK Metcalf, these rookie wide receivers, it normally takes them a while to get into the mix of things. So Tyler Lockett for the first couple of weeks until DK Metcalf fully gets comfortable in the NFL, he probably will be Russell Wilson's go-to guy until DK Metcalf starts getting more comfortable. And once he does, I don't think Tyler Lockett will take a step back. But I think then the Seattle Seahawks will have a very good wide receiving core once that happens, and it will be something beautiful and masterful. So Tyler Lockett, big expectations for him going into this 2019 NFL season. And now the last player that I have on the offense side of the ball, halfback Chris Carson. Now, Chris Carson was a guy that I talked about a lot last offseason on this channel because a lot of people felt it was like Rashad Penny's job, to lose, and it really wasn't because Chris Carson was already rated about by Pete Carroll. So when Rashad Penny, and him were competing for snaps during the season, Chris Carson ended up getting most of the snaps because Chris Carson, I feel, is an every down back. Rashad Penny, I think he isn't a third down back. He still has a lot of improvement, and that was evident in his rookie year. A lot of mistakes, a lot of missed holes, and whatnot. And Chris Carson, man, had a very solid year last year. He's probably going to be the #1 running back going into this season. Had 1,151 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and averaged 4.7 yards per carry. And the big reason why his season was so good was because the offensive line was majorly improved. Now, Chris Carson, I'm expecting big things out of him. And Rashad Penny, man, I think Rashad Penny is going to eat up at any of his carries at all. I still expect him to get over 200 carries this season. And from a fantasy standpoint, I would draft Chris Carson in your fantasy league. Next up on the defense side of the ball, we have defensive end LJ Collier. Now, the Seahawks drafted him in the first round of the NFL draft, and they have a habit of doing this. They always take guys who they could get in the later rounds, like in the third round, and they end up taking these guys in the first round. They did it with Rashard Penny a year ago, drafted him in the first one. They could have got him in the fourth or third round, and drafting LJ Collier, who had a third round grade by me and most people, but they ended up taking him. Going to be a starter. Probably going to be starting over Frank Clark. Also Deion Jordan, if he's still on the team, he's suspended for like the first 10 games, so he's going to be thrown into the fire right away. Think he should be able to have some production. I'm not expecting a whole bunch out of him, even though he is a first round pick. I'm going to set the bar at 5 sacks. Now, what would surprise me if he manages to get 7 sacks, but I'll set the bar at a bare minimum at 5 sacks. Think he should be able to accomplish that. I'm not really expecting a lot out of him. He was a very good player at TCU, but at the NFL, I just have a lot of my doubts. So at most, I say 5 sacks would be pretty reasonable for him, and I think that's a pretty solid rookie year if you ask me for a defensive end. Next up, we have linebacker Bobby Wagner, who was an All-Pro for like the third straight year. He was a Pro Bowler, had 138 tackles, 1 interception, 11 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. And Bobby Wagner is the best linebacker in the NFL. He can cover, he can tackle, he can basically do everything that you tell him to do. He, without a doubt, is going to have a big part of the Seattle defense going into the 2019 NFL season. And basically, he's most likely going to be that heart and the soul of that Seattle Seahawks team. It remains to be seen what's going to happen after this season, but I'm expecting he will be back. So, the next player that we have, another linebacker KJ Wright. Now, he only played in 5 games this year. When he played in those games, he had 23 tackles and 3 pass deflections. KJ Wright, um, his play hasn't been what I thought it used to be. A few years ago, you could argue that he was just as good as Bobby Wagner, but his play has kind of went down the last couple of years. I think he's a solid starter linebacker. I think he's going to be a big part of that Seattle defense, but I just don't think he's that same player that he used to be when the Seattle Seahawks had that Legion of Doom going on and whatnot. But overall, I think he'll have a very solid contribution to the Seattle Seahawks team. And the last player that I have on this list is cornerback SHAQUILL Griffin. Now, SHAQUILL Griffin last season had 61 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 8 pass deflections. SHAQUILL Griffin, man, he's becoming a very good corner in the NFL. This season, I think he'll keep on improving. I'm not expecting him to become an elite corner, but at this point in his career right now, he's making a lot of improvement, and he's becoming a very good corner. And I don't think he'll become an elite corner this year, but I believe next season, the 2020 NFL season, SHAQUILL Griffin will probably reach his peak potential. He will be a very elite corner in the NFL, very good corner. But for now, he's a very solid corner. Not bad, not terrible, very solid. Does a lot of good things, very good in man to man, also good in zone. So he's a very balanced corner. In 2020, I think that's when he'll take his game to that elite level. But for now, I think he's just trending as a solid corner. And that's it for this list. Seattle Seahawks impact players going into the 2019 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more videos and NFL content. And thanks for watching.